Thank you very much for your patience, guys. A couple of technical difficulties we had to sort through there, but we are back now. Game number 2, Team Pandemonium versus Corvidae. Game number 1. I think it's as close to a perfect game as you can get. Not dropping a single kill, being 10k up about 8 minutes into the game. Really can't expect much more out of the Pandas there, Biggie.
No, I think you're giving me a bit too much credit. I don't think they were a tank up at 8 minutes, but pretty much, it was a shutout, and it's going to be tough for Corvidae to come back from that. But I mean, they've got Kaification back, so I know that having a support sub, depending on team, but can have quite an impact on just the team gel, the way the team gels and communicate. So hopefully they put up a bit more of a fight this time.
We're going to start picks and bans in just a second, but this is the first time, actually, in about 2 weeks that Corvidae is going to have their full starting lineup. Desecrator has been in the hospital with a burst appendix. He is all good now, he assures me. So it's good to hear that he's back and healthy. It's good for Corvidae to actually get to play with the whole starting lineup. Let's head to the picks and bans now. Team Pandemonium, first pick yet again. So Corvidae looking to try and counter pick again, but last time it didn't work out so well for them.
No, I mean, in the drafting phase, I thought they drafted well. I think maybe they should have put the Erlang solo, Sobek support would have worked out a bit more, and then obviously stuck to their plan. But I kind of want to see them, go back to the roots, go back to the Scylla, maybe the Ao Kuang trilogy. Even though the team isn't performing, he's quite known for playing Ao Kuang. So just pick some comfort picks, and play aggressively and just give it a shot.
Alrighty, Terra first banned by Team Pandemonium yet again. Last week they played it in both games against Avant-Garde, but I think you mentioned in the picks and bans of last game that it does something that doesn't really suit Richard's playstyle all that much, or it's something that he still probably needs to get a little bit more comfortable with. He played last game something a bit more aggressive in the Barcus. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to that again, or if the composition suits it, maybe in Ares. Athena and Freya, the next two bans.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're first pick and first banning it just means they just don't want to play it. They want to play against it, and they don't want to first pick it. So just take it off the table, pick something a bit more aggressive. I think maybe their drafts, with double ADC recently haven't been kind of gelling around it. So maybe they're kind of switching up the way they play, putting Richard, back to his roots and an aggressive god, and just seeing how that plays out.
Jingwei banned by Corvidae here, so yet again getting taken away. Erlang Shen, first pick here from Team Pandemonium last game. They first picked the Jingwei when the Erlang Shen was available as well, so going to be interesting to see where they play the Erlang this game. I wouldn't doubt that that Kikyomiya, Ro, and Richard Castle are all probably saying, give me Erlang at this point. Ra and Ratatosk are the pickups for Corvidae.
Yeah, I don't think so much Kiki. I know it's kind of a god that would suit Richard's playstyle perfectly, but I also know that if it's gonna go to Kiki or Ro, it's probably almost gonna just 100% go to Ro. That's his style. As we see, Pandas take the Scylla and the Bacchus again.
Yeah, so a lot of setup already for this Scylla. Haven't seen Ochita on Scylla all that much through his career. Going to be very interesting to see him play that one. One of the more mechanically gifted mids in OCE. And last week, Avant really ran through them with that Scylla pick. Might not have been the entire reason why they lost, but it was certainly a big part because of the CC and the damage that it was able to output. And even a little bit of its escapability was very difficult for Team Pandemonium to deal with. Neath, the last pick was the break by Corvidae. They ban out Ram, and Sobek is taken away by the Pandas.
Yeah, it also surprised by still pick the fact that Raijin's open. I think if you look at Cheetah's stats, all he's played this split has kind of been, Raijin and then the physical hunters in mid. So again, obviously a complete switch up, or maybe they're just kind of testing things. They're against a bit of more of a weaker opponent heading into land. Maybe they don't want to show specific picks. As we see, Ram banned and Hun Bats by Corvidae and the Guan Yu ban, along with the Sobek for Panda.
Next pick with Corvidae, yeah, I agree with that definitely. That's kind of what my own thinking was on the matter was, is the Scylla stronger than Raijin right now, or is Team Pandemonium just trying out new picks in a competitive setting? Geb, the next pick up here for Corvidae. So I'm just looking at their picks. So that's going to be a Neath ADC, which is surprisingly actually something we don't see all that often. Usually when we see a Neath, it's in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, especially in OCE, a lot of these mid players are, kind of dabble in the hunters, and most of, Divine, Achita, all those, kind of Shred moving back to mid lane, big Neath players kind of by default if they're going to run a hunter mid. So it'll be interesting to see it back in its traditional role of ADC.
Ymir and Anhur now picked for Team Pandemonium, so the Ymir pick is a bit of an interesting one, while Chark is picked up for Corvidae. So Corvidae's team comp all look pretty vanilla, actually, but the Ymir pick, do you think that's going to be Ymir jungle like we saw Liquid Renegade play last week, or like what Cheerios played in the SPL, or do you think it's going to be Ymir solo, like we've seen out of teams like Obey?
I think it's more likely with the Erlang jungle and the Ymir solo.
Alrighty, we're going to head to game in just a second, but as we do so, explain to me, Biggie, why you think the Erlang works better in jungle, or why you think it's going to go in the jungle.
I mean, I've had a bit to do with Pandemonium, and I just think that playstyles. Kiki's not a big Erlang player. I don't know if he's practiced a lot, or maybe he just doesn't kind of enjoy playing it. And whereas Ro, you saw last split and on LAN, it kind of became, you ban Odin Erlang, you ban Ro out. So it's definitely a major comfort pick. And now that it's kind of still top tier since then, and he's back in the jungle, it's just adding another god to his
Oh, look at this invade onto put a speed buff. Wrath used there. Trilogy is going to fall down here in just a second. Ro claims the first blood there. A double hog start. They actually used that one against you at LAN, Biggie. I'm sure you must be getting triggered right now. And it looks like they're going to be able to take away the speed buff as well.
Flashbacks.
All right, Biggie. You can't. You're safe now. They can't hurt you anymore.
Yeah, I won't be playing at LAN. I'm safe.
Alrighty, so a very kind of odd start there from Team Pandemonium in that you don't, while they've run it before, as I just said, it's not something you usually see out of solo laners and junglers running this double Wrath. Usually if you see a solo laner pick up Wrath like we've seen in the group stages of the SPL, it's been because the jungler needs to pick up some purification to deal with the enemy team's composition, or just simply because they have a god that they don't want to lose their blue buff at the start of the game with, and the jungler still picks up beads anyway. Cryopraetor still level 1 here, pinned in place by Ro. Ro doing an excellent job of just body blocking him away from the tower. Cryopraetor really struggling here. I'm surprised he's not just running straight back into the tower. Now finally managed to get away from the Ymir and Erlang.
Yeah, I think he didn't realize that, and Kiki's probably kicking himself now that he used his freeze on the buff. I don't think Cryo realized that. In his mind, he was trying to juke the freeze, whereas, the double bluff, I guess Kiki never had it up the whole time, so. And back to, the strategy, I'm surprised, as we saw last in game 1, a lot of wards come out level 1 from Corvidae, none this time, and into the Erlang Ymir, it kind of screams invade. And with the kind of Wrath meta that OC is developing, I'm surprised they didn't expect that and kind of try to counter it or play around it.
Do you think Kiki's going to suffer at all for not having a TP and instead going?
Not now. Maybe had he done the standard start, but I think specifically now that he's been put ahead by that invade, and he's Ymir, not much out pressures him. I think he'll be fine.
Alrighty. Oh, we can see Ro and Cheetah already level 5 here. Back up for Ro. They use that to secure Kiki Ymir, whose blue buff going to keep him very full of mana. Rotating back towards the mid lane here. Could look for a pick perhaps onto Trilogy or Desecrator. Trilogy not level 5 yet. Is a little bit vulnerable. He does have Purification, instead of a Wrath himself to counter a lot of the CC coming through from Team Pandemonium.
Yeah, well, what we failed to mention as well is Max, and I think a bit cheeky, going for the blink over.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, in my mind, I just saw blue down there. I'm just like, oh, it's Purification, But blink on her. I don't think I've even seen that in a casual setting before.
I think he's feeling himself a bit after that first game, and I hope he gets Ratatoskr ulted and Neath ulted a lot.
Ratatoskr into Ryle into Neath ult, then bye on her.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well we can see that unlike last game, Team Pandemonium not in a position to invade the red buff off cooldown here, and Corvidae going to be able to pick that one up. Ro, is going for the back camps here. Ochita heading back towards mid lane, so things have quietened down a little bit since that early invade, but we can see the Ratatoska going up near the Gold Fury. Maxon here's the Rata you'll talk about, but he goes into his own ultimate, the Desert Fury. Doesn't manage to pick up Pure Might, jumps away, but Trilogy picks him up with the help of the archers standing there in the wave. So Maxon, you can see already punished a little bit for having a blink.
Yeah, obviously Blink's on cooldown, he went for the style points, I guess.
Yeah.
But the thing about Ratatoska is you're never safe on the map. He can be literally in mid lane and gank you from the mid lane. So just, again, feeling himself or just not paying any respect to the Ratatoska pick.
Kiki, Mio, and Ro again invade the speed and the blue buff of Corvidae. So I guess that gank on Maxon really kind of had an overall positive effect for the team because they managed to get the blue and speed buff back. Cryoprator taunted in here
kill
by Ro, and Ro gets the kill along with Kiki Mio. Trilogy forced to stand around the blue buff pit. Not really much he can do. And, you know, Team Pandemonium, they're that kind of team. You know, if you make a play on the left-hand side of the map, we're going to make a play on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I'm also surprised to have not. I mean, K's Vacation opting into the shell kind of. Again, you want to be playing on the front foot. You know, you're playing up like well up into Pandemonium. You know, maybe buy a blink, play with some aggression. So I'm surprised that, again, he's put himself kind of into that majorly defensive mindset with the shell.
Do you think Pandemonium's kind of cockiness here might cost them at all? Like, we already saw Maxon fall down for the blink, but I meant overall in terms of the game. Actually saying that, needs ultimate into the Ratatoska ultimate. Maxon forces the Desert Fury here. His jump is down for the next couple of seconds. Knockup from Casification is enough to pick off Maxon. So just like that, as I was saying, do you think Team Pandemonium is going to continue to be punished for their kind of cockiness?
I don't think so. I think it still is a long way for Corvidae to go. But they're doing, you know, they've, again, coming with the plan. Maxon's decided to go blink, so okay, how are we going to play around that? We're going to camp him with, you know, double global. But I think they should just, you know, keep exhausting that, keep pressuring Maxon, you know, maybe force him to tilt a little bit and gain an advantage through that. The only downside to that, as we have a fight in solo.
Yeah, Ochita along with Ro and Kiki Mio here. Ro taken very low. Actually hit by the axe there. Bluestone tick enough to pick off the jungler for Team Pandemonium. Ochita used his armor monster as well, but at the end of the day, Corvidae is the one that picked up the final kill there. Good freeze by Kiki Mio into the shards. Trilogy dashes away. Kiki Mio, no further options of attack for him. So again, another equal trade there, 1-for-1 between these two teams. But again, Team Pandemonium find themselves in the lead because they're playing not just for kills, they're playing the map.
Yeah, and back to my point, if Ratatoska and Neith are focusing kind of one side, Ro is just pressuring and just getting this Ymir ahead and himself ahead. He's 4 levels already ahead of Trilogy. It's, you know, almost 7 minutes. That's my biggest issue right now. Is just Ro is massive. You know, level 10 at 7 minutes on Erlang Shane. And that's the power of, you know, a warrior jungle from ahead. Nowadays he's only going to be doing ridiculous amounts of damage, but he's also going to be unkillable, as it looks like he's going to build into, you know, probably a spirit rope here.
Neith ultimate was expended there as Team Pandemonium looked to invade the red buff. Maxon's absolutely fine there as Richard Castle copped the brunt of that ultimate. He's actually fighting 1v1 against Pure Might in the duo lane. Pure now rotating towards the red buff, but Corvidae just not willing to fully commit to it as Richard Castle and Ochita are hanging around here. They've got a minion wave pushing up into the middle tower. Ochita lays down the crush, doesn't get the red buff though. That is secured by Corvidae. Trilogy gets a kill onto Kikyo Mio in the midst of the jungle. Richard Castle chasing down the rat and picks him up with the belt. So again, another 1-for-1 trade between these two teams. But Kaze might get caught out here. Ochita, excellent route. Stone Shield from Kaze. Keeps himself alive. I'm a monster off the mark as Kaze walks towards and gets a beautiful 3-man ult. He turns around though and knocks up the pin from Ro. Is enough to put him in the ground. And Richard Castle forced to run away. So finally, Team Pandemonium get themselves an advantage in the kill column. But again, a fight now between two warriors. Ro and Cryoprator going at it. Good knock up there from Ro. Good Ro from Ochita. Storm call from Cryoprator, but Ro picks him up at the end of that ultimate. And now Team Pandemonium really starting to flex their muscles.
Yeah, there's not much. Obviously, Richard expending his weakening curse for a kill there. I should have take that trade any day of the week. But I mean, if you look at, you know, with the Ichmael and the Ninja Tabi online, before, you know, Ro was even expending any, you know, cooldowns on the Chuck, he was just chunking him, you know, 100 at a time. He's very far ahead, you know, he's keeping his gap his 4-level experience distance. And again, that's my biggest worry for Corvidae, is being this far behind this early, not only in the gold, but the XP is even scarier.
Alrighty, speaking of that difference, it's a 4,400 experience, 2,200 gold gap between these two teams. K's Vacation rolls out. Maxon jumps away here. Neath Ultimate is back online. If they're looking to take him down, he still only has a blink in his relic slots here. Again, another invade, though, by Team Pandemonium onto the blue buff of Corvidae. Rowe, I don't know if he invaded the speed again. Let's take a look at Trilogy. No, it looks like Rowe invaded the speed again as well. So just almost a complete lack of buffs for Corvidae. On the right-hand side, it's definitely the case. Really difficult to play without those buffs. A lot of people, recognize kind of that buffs are important, but just how important they are, not only in terms of the benefits they give you, but in terms of the golden experience you get from them as well, is often underappreciated.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's kind of familiar with, you gaining the XP in Gold League, but the difference between, playing without that speed buff and playing with it is, it slows down your farm, it slows down your ganks as a jungler, and obviously that's being shown by the fact of Rose lead. But the biggest thing for me there was Kiki died, invading that blue buff. He managed to spawn, come back, and it was still on the map. So maybe Trilogy's just not quite got his head in the game. He's not really looking for all the farm that he can, as Desecrator falls in mid to Row.
Yes, 3-man grouping from Team Pandemonium pick the Ra. Case Vacation's here, but he's not going to be able to defend this tower. The Erlang Shen's doing a lot of work against this tower. Taunted Case Vacation with a 9 turns blessing. There's the crush as well. I'm a Monster comes through, but off the mark, Case Vacation knocked up and put into the ground yet again by Rowe. Middle tower still stands, but probably not going to stand for long. Kikimio invading a speed buff here. Looking to try and pick it up. Neath Ultimate comes through. Kikimio in a little bit of trouble here. Goes down into the Shards of Ice. Picks up the speed buff. Doesn't get the kill. Trilogy goes into the air. Frozen is Cry Predator. In comes Trilogy. Richard Castle off the mark with the belly flop there. But Trilogy taken solo by Rowe. Nowhere to go. Rowe takes him down yet again. Pandemonium now fully in control of this game.
Yeah, and that's the strength of solo Ymir. People are kind of, I guess, used to the support Ymir, where you kind of, if you're eating that ultimate, you're not so much eating, kind of mid-game, you're not eating as much that much damage, whereas you see that Kiki just invading 1v2, and as soon as they try to turn on him, he just goes down into the ult, and they're forced to disengage, otherwise they're just going to lose to the rotations as well.
Alrighty, 11 minutes into this game. Corvidae very much on the back foot here. Pandemonium. I mean, what more needs to be said than Rowe? 8-1-1. Just how do you deal with that? Over on the left-hand side, Pure Might, purifications and backflips away from Maxon, who looked to impale him into the pillar. And even though Maxon is a level behind here, it still seems like Might's playing defensively against him, rather than the other way around.
Yeah, Maxon, ever since those first 2 ganks, it's almost like, rather than pushing their advantage, they've been trying to kind of lessen their disadvantage in this whole lane, and it's just not working out for them. K's Vacation's kind of not getting into these fights. We're not seeing a Gebolt or, the use of this shell. And so Maxon's just been allowed back into the game.
Alright, middle lane, Neath Ultimate comes through and lands onto Maxon as Richard Castle successfully belly flops onto Trilogy. 3-man grouping from Pandemonium as Maxon actually going to head back towards his lane here. They're not going to look to push this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. It looks like Gold Fury instead is their target. A Wrath is online for Kikimio, but he's all the way over in solo lane. Rowe does have his down. Pure Might's in the area. Great belly flop there from Richard Castle. Intoxicate onto Trilogy. Crush before he can even get into the air. Desecrator's stunned out as well. Maxon on the backside fighting Pure Might and Case Vacation. Rowe in the Mink form looking for Pure Might. Stone Shield from Case Vacation keeps him alive for now, but you can't escape this Erlang Shen or the Scylla, who picks up yet another kill with her crush. In the middle lane, Kikimio stuns out Desecrator. The Shards of Ice, not quite enough to pick up the Ra. I'm a Monster comes through, but Kikimio with the Glacial Strike finishes off the Firebird. And now, Team Pandemonium, 2 members of Corvidae down, looking back again towards this Gold Fury.
Yeah, again, a one-sided fight, and I guess lucky for a cheater, he hasn't needed to hit an ult pretty much all game to kind of win these fights.
Yeah.
It just shows, the lead, if they're not getting any value out of, the Armor Monster, then, and winning quite one-sided, you're ahead then.
Alrighty, with that Gold Fury, it's now an 11,000 experience, 6,700 gold difference between these two teams. Yet again, Corvidae find themselves very much on the back foot. You were kind of alluding to it a bit before, is that they were ahead earlier. They took down Max and had a great couple of ganks on the left-hand side. And with a Neith in that lane as well, you'd expect to be getting a lot of pressure down that direction, just simply due to the fact that she's got such tremendous clear. Kiki Amir looked to be ganked there, but managed to get a blink off and managed to back himself away. But yeah, as I was saying, Biggie, you know, they had a good kind of strong start to the game, and Corvidae tend to do that, to have a good strong start, but then just falter against these high-level teams.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't, as we've seen engagement in mid, and Trilogy lucky to get out very low.
Yeah, Desecrator manages to Aegis here. Maxon picks him up there with a Desert Fury. Rowe and Richard Castle would have cleaned that one anyway. And Pure Might, Casification, the only two left in the lane is Kiki Amir is fighting in the solo lane. Maxon taken low but manages to jump away. Rowe picks up the kill on to Pure Might. His tier 2 tower is not going to stand for very much longer. Kiki Amir and Cryprater just having a jump party in the solo lane, not really worrying about anything. Tier 2 tower in the mid lane falls. There's a red buff there just waiting for a cheater screaming his name. He's going to be able to pick that one up. And Corvidae, yet again, suffer a loss.
Not much they can do. I mean, and look at the draft. You've got a Geb, you've got a Chark, and I mean, you've got a Geb with a Shell. You've got a Neith, you know, kind of from this far behind, there's literally no impact you can have on the game. Just to get a pick alone, it'd almost have to be, you know, Geb set up into Neith ult, into Rara ult. And even then, I don't think you'd be able to burst one of these carries from this far ahead.
One tower on the left-hand side falls down now as well. Very few structures remaining from Corvidae, and most of Team Pandemonium's look relatively untouched. Only Kiki Amir's tower has suffered a little bit of scratches and denting here. Let's take a look at player damage quickly. Rowe, 10,000 player damage, 3,000 clear for the next highest, which is Kiki Omio. Pure Might hasn't done bad for himself, just 4 off the 7,000 mark himself, but Rowe clearly just putting his team in the backpack this game.
Oh, and back to what you said, you know, Corvidae, I guess they didn't really have a lead, but, you know, they had an advantage somewhere on the map, and they just didn't kind of, you know, just trust their ability and trust their, you know, knowledge of the game, and the fact that they, you know, can keep going back and keep maxing behind, because solo was lost, you know, Rose ahead as he chops down this tier 1 right tower. That was done, you know, they just kind of needed to hold that and just try and get an advantage on the other side of the map. And what they decided to do was kind of maybe limit or kind of control the bleeding from the other side, and it just has just slowly bled, and there's not much they can do about it.
Good flank here from Rowe, forces out the purification for Pure Might. In it comes the Ratatoska on to Ochita, who's taken very low but manages to get out. Neith ultimate comes through as well, but really no damage at all for Corvidae here, relatively speaking. Great wall from Kikimio, shards of ice come through, and combined with a crush, they pick up Casification. Cryprater falls to Richard Castle here. Just Trilogy and Pure Might left to defend, but Pure Might 7 levels below Rowe. He's not going to be able to do anything. Kikimio, great freeze there. Glacial Strike as well. Backflipping is Pure Might. Good knock up from Richard Castle. Belch comes through as well, halts Pure Might in his tracks. Kikimio picks up the kill, and it looks like the tier 2 tower is going to fall as well to Rowe and Ochita. Left-hand side, Maxon's boxing. Desecrator, Desert Fury comes through, but there's the Sanctuary from Desecrator. Maxon auto attacks. He's hitting every single one of them. Just an impale will be enough to pick up Desecrator, but he manages to walk away. Maxon more focused on these minions than anything. Only one tower remains for Corvidae.
Well, fairly free, I guess. You saw Kiki and the brothers kind of chase down that extra kill and secure the tower. I would have, though, liked to have seen, I know Maxon's kind of split pushing. I would have liked to have seen him, you know, rotate, you know, get this tower and then force the Fire Giant, you know, just really put their foot on the throat of Corvidae here.
Look what Rose picked up here, Ritual Dagger, something we don't see that much of. 100 health, 10% cooldown reduction, 10% attack speed, 10% movement speed. So a good number of stats there in and of itself, hence why I'm going into such detail about it, but its passive as well is especially strong. Whenever you use a relic, the duration of that relic's effects are increased by 50%. Looking at his relics, Purification, normally just immune for 2 seconds, now you're immune for 3 seconds. Wrath, you stun them for 1 second, now they're stunned for 1.5 seconds. Rogue Taunts and Casification, their K's, not even a chance to roll out or anything, just taken down there by the sheer strength of the autos from Rowe and Maxon.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not bought it for the passive, I guess, but I mean, if you're not going to buy it for the passive, you'd almost rather see just the Wingblade, just straight up Wingblade. I guess maybe he wants a little bit of CDR. You'd have to ask him.
Fire Giant now being started up by Ro and Maxon, doing so much damage to this at this point, while Richard Castle and Kikimiyo zone out the rest of the team. Ochita, he's completely ignoring the Fire Giant. He's confident in his team to get it, and now he's going to help out the two brothers who are essentially 2v4 at this stage and looking like they're coming off it the better of the engagement. Here comes all of Team Pandamonium now, looking for the right-hand side Phoenix. With this composition, it's going to be very difficult for Corvidae to take them down. Kikimiyo, Richard Castle, and Rose. So much CC. Kikimiyo blinks in, freeze onto Cryopraetor. Here's the Iron Monster overwall from Ochita. Again off the mark. Kikimiyo actually falls down there under the Phoenix to Cade's Vacation. Cryopraetor's jumped in now. He's looking to find something here. Ro chunked a little bit there by the Celestial Beam. He's looking for Cryopraetor. Again, Pure Might knocked back by Maxton. And now Team Pandemonium, they chunked the Phoenix to 50% health. They don't want to quit at this stage. Good Spirit Arrow there for Pure Might. Actually takes Max on a row very low. Immense knock up there from Richard Castle. Ochita gets a double kill and Rowe gets himself his own kill. Trilogy dashes forward into Max, but Max in the lifesteal enough to keep him alive. Rowe's got himself a double kill as well. A double for the jungler, a double for the mid, and now it's going to be a Phoenix for the team as Pandemonium press forward. They could look to end off the back of this push. They've got Fire Giant, they've got minions. A Phoenix is down, and Pandemonium are looking to end. It's only Desecrator left alive to stop them. He's got a red buff, but he doesn't have an ultimate. Got a heal, but he doesn't have a hope here as Pandemonium looking to press in. Rowe and Maxon dealing so much damage. Crush comes through. Snipe comes through from Desecrator. Actually, no, that was just his beads there. A little bit of tilt at the end there as Pandemonium take the set pretty cleanly 2-0.
I don't think Pandas would have been happy with the way they fought the last siege. I mean, Rowe got, obviously they turned the fight with, just from being so far ahead and, the 3-man taunt into the Bacchus knock up into the ult. But they kind of committed everything into the chalk and Kiki traded out his own life for that. But nonetheless, I guess, you're killing the Titan in under 20 minutes. You can't be disappointed with that performance.
Exactly right. All right, we're now going to talk to the captain and jungler of Team Pandemonium, Ro. So, Ro, first thing, you won a game with a cheater playing Scylla where he didn't hit an ultimate. How does that feel?
He didn't need to, thankfully, but yeah. I don't know. Every time he missed, he just laughed.
Alrighty, so some pretty quick again victories there. Obviously, you guys are still in the hunt for the first seed. You said before that the first seed really doesn't matter that much to you guys, but, do you still get some motivation off the fact that you can get first seed?
I mean, sure, yeah, a little bit, I guess everyone would, but once we qualified for regionals, it's more just been practicing and getting ready for regionals, practicing all these new comps, all these new gods, rather than looking to get top of the ladder. I mean, we don't want to drop to third seed, that's a big thing for us, but first and second, there's not much difference to me, at least.
I believe, actually, with this win, you might have actually secured yourself second place or higher. It's something we'll have to check after the broadcast. Biggie, any questions for our guest?
I guess just touching on the LAN and the seeding again. Obviously, Legacy and Alpha, could go either way. You guys are pretty much set for second place or even first place. Who would you rather face? Would you rather kind of, I guess people would say Legacy's a tougher matchup? Or would you rather just kind of that maybe easier because, Alpha City lacking LAN experience, kind of the new kids on the block? Which team would you rather face?
I think I'd rather face Alpha, and that's really just the fact that the patch coming is going to buff Kali, and then we'd be pretty scared of Legacy's jungle.
Ogre's not in the jungle anymore.
He'll play it solo, I'm sure.
Yeah, he would. Anyone knows he used to play it, he would. So yeah, I'm actually checking the results now after your win, and no matter the result of Legacy and Alpha City's game, they can't get second place. So you guys are second place or higher.
Good stuff. It's good to know.
All right. Any shout-outs before you head off?
Shout outs to Biggie, great casting as always. Husey, you too. See you guys at LAN.
Alrighty, see you, Ro. Thank you very much for joining us. Now we're going to be joined by the ADC from Corvidae, Pure. So Pure, a couple of rough losses there. What's that? What's the kind of feeling in the team room after that one?
It wasn't good, eh? Yeah, not being able to get K's in on time on the first game sort of demolished our comps the entirety of both games, and we couldn't really come back from it.
Alrighty, so looking kind of ahead to next year and stuff like that, have you been paying any attention at all to the Challengers Cup scene?
Yes, quite a bit. Very, very worried. There's a lot of skill coming up through there, and we're just gonna try and hold our place in the OPL.
Awesome. Biggie, any questions?
I have one question. How scared are you of the thick notch in real life?
Of Notch? Oh, dude, Big Daddy Notch is terrifying.
That's the correct answer.
He killed me in a jump party in a casual. I've never forgiven him since. Better beat him if he does come through.
Oh, dude, I will. Just for you, Husey.
All right, thanks, Pure. Any shout-outs before you go?
Yeah, shout outs to you all for sticking with us, trying to fix our issues. It's been nice.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Sure, so that does it for our first set of the night. Next one is actually a very interesting one. Legacy versus Avant-Garde. Last time they met, they split. Some say with a little bit of controversy. We'll have to see if perhaps Legacy can redeem themselves or if Avant can confirm themselves as the #1 team. Stay tuned.